Ready and welcome to the second fall term for 2020. This is EDUT 547, and I'm your instructor, Denise Estrella. You can find out a little bit more about me under the Meet Your Instructor page. I have a little bit of a biography about my professional experience and my areas of expertise, as well as my credentials on this page. That's what I look like without a mask. I have been an instructor with Concordia for 5 years now, and I'm really looking forward to this course. I have a particular interest in brain-based learning because I myself had a brain injury in 2012, and it really has caused me to reconsider taking the brain into account not only for learning for children, but also how we relearn as adults. So with that being said, I'd like to go over, well, first of all, let me just note here is my phone number and my email address. Feel free to either call, text, or to email me. If you have an easy question, you might like to text me or send me an email. I do work full-time during the day at a school district. I'm an elementary principal. So a quick way to catch me during the day if you have a question is to send an email or a text, because I can often check my phone and respond quickly. But if it's a longer, more involved question or a topic of discussion, then we can find a time to talk on the phone directly. That is generally best for me in the evenings, late afternoons or evenings after 5 and until about 9 or 9:30. On the weekends, I'm available after 10 in the morning and up until about 9 o'clock at night. So that's how you can get a hold of me, and I do encourage you to text or email during the day, especially if you have an answer that is holding you back from completing a question or an assignment. Let's go over the syllabus for this course, as well as the textbook. Your textbook is How the Brain Learns, and you'll also want to note that we are into the 7th edition of the American Psychological Association Publication Manual. The textbook is required, the publication manual is not. I myself prefer to have a manual rather than rely on online sources, but we do have some online resources for you as well. And then to access the syllabus, simply click on the link. All of the information in the syllabus is also represented in the course shell. So this is here for your reference, but you'll find a lot of duplication in the course shell. So I really just wanted to point out that this is where you can locate the official syllabus and find out all the detailed information, and that this information should match up perfectly to our course shell. This is just a second place you can find it and in more detail if you need it. So instead of reviewing the syllabus from the document, I'm going to do it through the class. Over here on the left navigation bar, we have a page for each of the 8 weeks of class. The course is 9 weeks long, and that's because we take a week off during the Thanksgiving holiday. So it's a duration of 9 weeks, but it's 8 weeks of class. And under each week, you'll find the information about the topic, the learning outcome, the readings and videos. Your tasks are summarized in a box, and the things that you need to do. The discussion prompts, for example, during week 1, and the e-lesson that you'll watch. So it's best for most students to use the classroom navigation to access all the features of class, but all that information is also located just in a different format in the syllabus under the Syllabus and Textbooks tab. So each week, you'll want to click on the tab and see, you'll find the dates for that week, you'll find the topics, you'll find the learning outcomes. Each week I'll have an overview video. You'll see very clearly the things that you'll need to read. For example, in this week, you'll read pages 25 through 42 of chapter 1 of the textbook, as well as some additional articles and videos. So you can navigate each week from the weekly tab. And this is very similar to other classes that you've taken. This is probably very familiar to you. And again, everything for each week is summarized in the dark gray box. So here you see each of the 8 weeks of instruction. And then under course items, you'll find a couple of different features. The first is the announcements. Here I've already posted a welcome message and just a schedule, again, noting we take a week off between week 6 and week 7. So it's 9 weeks total. Our first day, Monday, the 12th of October, and our last day, Friday, the 11th of December. I'll also be posting weekly announcements here as well. I'll let you know when your grades have been updated with your assignments, your grades, and I'll also provide feedback on a weekly basis here in the announcement section. Your participation includes a lot of different things, submission of your assignments, as well as posting in our discussion board. Here I'm displaying the discussion board. It looks a tiny bit different with my instructor view, but each week you'll find 1 or 2 discussion topics, and for each of them you will be responding. I do encourage you to review the rubric for the discussion board so that you have a clear understanding of what you're expected to do. Again, a large part of your grade is participation, and quite often points are lost here simply because we forget to either respond to our classmates by Sunday or we forget to use a citation, etc. So do review the discussion board rubric to make sure that you're clear about what you need to do. The discussion board rubric doesn't really change from course to course, so if this is not your first Concordia class, then this is very familiar to you. But I find myself every course reminding students to respond to 2 of your peers for each question every week, unless stated otherwise. And then there's also a little description of the etiquette that is expected and the grading scale, as well as the grading rubric. So that was worth mentioning. Again, discussion board will happen each of the weeks, sometimes more than 1. Discussion board prompt. See, for example, here you have 3. In some cases, discussion is part of your assignment, so you'll submit an assignment as well as participate in discussing the assignment on the discussion board. Okay. You'll also submit assignments. We have several this course. One is a group integration project, and there'll be more information on each of those during the video of the week that they're due. But generally, you can access the directions and the grading rubric by clicking on the appropriate links, and you'll find here detailed description of each assignment. You'll have a group paper and a group presentation. You'll also have an assignment which is an information processing model and analogy, as well as an arts and movement project and a brain compatible unit. And in each of these, I have highlighted any important information about what you're supposed to submit, or a change in the due date. Note that for assignment number 4, it's due on Friday because that's the last day of the last week rather than on Sunday. And then to submit your assignment, you're going to click on the link. And here's where you'll attach a file and you'll press submit. Under the Groups tab, again, this will look a little different to you, but I will, at the end of the first week, I'll be assigning your groups. I'll be doing them myself. Not exactly at random, but I will do it based upon your responses in the first introduction meet and greet post. I'll try to mix you up. Most likely you will know each other from other courses, and so I am the stranger to your group, but I will assign your group. Please don't request to be with particular people. There's a reason why we assign them ourselves. But I'll be assigning you to a group, and I will make an announcement with the groups that I've assigned at the end of the first week. But if you want to get there, you'll be able to click there, and there will be a discussion board for you to do your work so that I can see it. There's also a tab for grades. This is where you'll be able to monitor your progress in the class. Your page will look somewhat like this, and then you'll be able to see your grades on each of the tasks that you're expected to complete here. There's also a feature in our classroom shell where you can contact your classmates. You can either email your whole class, you can email me, your instructor, you can do all users, or if you need to find a single person, and this is most likely what you would do, is you would select the users. And so that way, if you don't know someone's exact CUI email address, you can just pick a classmate from the list, and let's say you didn't know my email address, or say you wanted to email a classmate, you simply highlight them, select it, type in your subject, and you type in the body right here. You can probably guess your using the conventions of CUI in your Eagles account, but that's how you would use that to contact people in the class. Just a few other things I want to point out. There are some resources for you here in the class. You can find out information about your program, APA resources. Hopefully you've already found these in your other courses. But here is a required structure for a School of Education paper. You do not have to format your own. You can use a template that's provided for you here. We'll let that load. There's also a publication manual formatting checklist, which you can use. This is going to help you make sure that it's correct if you do your own formatting. You're going to, just a reminder, use APA 7th edition and all the writing procedures that are described there. Concordia provides you with a, so here are the guidelines for the formatting. CUI provides you with an APA Basics handout. You can access this here. If you choose not to purchase the publication guidelines, this is a usable shortcut, kind of like a cheat sheet that you can use. We also provide you with a link to the Purdue's online writing resources. Purdue University has a really great website. Almost everybody I know in academia uses it as a reference. So here's the click here. You've probably already used it, but here it is, and it has been updated to use APA version 7. When you're doing graduate level academic writing, it helps to use your tools so that your writing reflects a high level of action. We like to provide you with a list of these words as a tool. So here are some general verbs of attribution, and here are some for agreement and disagreement. These are great words to be using. So if you're stuck in a response and making it sound right. Sometimes looking at a list of verbs can help your sentences express the intention in your writing. So that's just another writing tool. I tend to share that with a lot of my students who are either in Concordia or outside of Concordia, just because it's a really great tool. And again, here's a reference to the publication manual for APA 7th edition. There are some links to the Writing Studio. I encourage you to take advantage of the Writing Studio with Concordia. It's a service that that is provided to you as part of your tuition. I will spend most of my time providing feedback on your content rather than on your writing, but there's no reason why you can't take advantage by making an appointment or attending workshops if writing is a challenge for you. The sooner you master graduate level writing, the higher your grades will be and the easier your course of study will be. So if you struggle with academic writing, I strongly encourage you to use the Writing Studio. I found their feedback to be very helpful for students who have chosen to use it. And then finally, here's a tab that links you to the library and research. You do have 2 required research orientations, and this also tells you a little bit about the other library resources. Access to those has changed, of course, during the pandemic, but for the most part, for our online programs, these resources have been very responsive to the needs of students, and just want to make sure you're aware that they're here. So here are your 2 library orientations. You can review the videos if you haven't. It's not part of this course at this time, but if you need to review them, they're located here. You can also access the library webpage, the education research guide, and how-to videos. So that's a general overview of our course. We'll be learning a lot about the brain and how it works. And again, I mentioned that I myself have the experience of having had a brain injury several years ago. And we'll just note sometimes when I'm expressing, I get stuck on words. Part that was affected for me was my speech. So if there's anything that I need to repeat, I hope you'll let me know. I'm looking forward to working with all of you. And again, here's my contact information, cell phone, email address, and please don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions.